streaming. Hopefully everything doesn't crash all of a sudden.
Hopefully.
Looks smooth, hopefully. Yeah, I am streaming, so. Oh shoot, hopefully I saved my stuff that I was streaming. Make sure it is.
It appears I'm not even seeing any population here.
Right, it is working.
Probably like a village.
I don't even see a village.
Weird. It got wiped off the map, maybe?
Maybe.
Not yet.
Because, like, what I'm seeing is... Okay, there is one village. Okay, the only village I can find... Is this a village? Oh. Babunji? I hope I'm saying that right. In the western parts of Vanderlyn Island is where there is some population. The main area of population is Malua, where it appears there's a few homes, and then down to the southern parts of the island is Ugui. I don't know how to say that. Vanderlyn Island is the eastern island. It's a big island, by the way. In case you guys are wondering.
Alright.
Those are all areas. The entire eastern island here is going to definitely see the eye wall. The western islands, except for the westernmost island, should also see the eye wall. Mainly the western eye wall here. Southwest Island, Center Island, Skull Island, Watson Island, and North Island.
All of these islands here, right?
Yeah, that cluster of islands there to the west of
Is Mulula
Vanderlyn Island.
Mulua a city?
There's a few buildings.
Alright. So they're going to be getting the brunt of it. I know that there's a weather station over here, correct? Somewhere along this area. I'm going to pull that up. Shoot.
As this storm heads inland, areas like Bujan and Robinson River will see the brunt of it, with areas like Barulula and MacArthur River Mine probably missing the eye wall just barely.
Alright. There we go. I found the observation link. I'm going to pull that up on stream. Here we go. So latest stats were 51 knots sustained wind, 65 knot gust. So we are into Category 1 cyclone force. Wind gust pressure continues to decrease, 984.2 millibars. And we've been at 200 millimeters in the past almost 24 hours. So let me just take a look at what that is. Alright, so nearly 8 inches of rain in the past 24 hours for that area. It seems like it's lacking a lot of precipitation. I don't know if you all feel the same way about it. It's just... looks like it has a good band to the eastern side, but other than that, it doesn't. It looks like it's lacking quite a lot.
Can tell that, but also like the radar is,
Yeah. Okay, looking at Himawari mesosector satellite imagery, it looks very good. New convective burst. They're wrapping around.
Flight sim right now, it shows rain on the west side.
Mm-hmm. Right, and so I don't think that was the eye, though, right?
I am looking.
On Himawari mesosector,
yeah,
the clear area in the center of Megan.
Yeah, because now it's gone. There's no more clear sector. It's been pushed over to...
Yeah, that is the eye. That is it.
This right here?
Because,
I mean, it might have been, but
go to mesosector. Go to... Yeah, that is the eye. That clear sector there.
Yeah, but then the convective burst covered it.
Yeah, that is a briefly visible eye. Briefly. Right. With these sheared systems, the northern convective bursts, or the convective bursts that are wrapping up shear, are going to cover the eye in most cases.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see it, but it is definitely there. And there might be brief periods like that where you'll be able to tell that it's there on a satellite, where you get to actually see a NASA eye.
Do we have an ASCAP pass on it or something? We had this pass, which was a while ago. Showed
I'm
how
gonna
far
make
the winds extended, but this was quite old.
uh, it's pretty insane to see how explosive the convection is to the north side of the storm. It really just shows how much fuel was in the Gulf of Carp.
A firework was just shot outside somewhere. Okay, you can see the smoke from
I
the
do find
firework.
that, on the other side of the world, there's a lot more convection than the Atlantic
Hmm.
normally.
Well, yeah, of
Yeah.
More
course, that area
powerful
there's a lot
convection.
more. Yeah. It's because of it has to do with the is it the stratosphere?
Yeah.
Um, all right. So, how long do you think it will take until it makes its first landfall on the island of?
Probably
Hmm.
at this rate, it might not even be. Let me take a look at radar. It's definitely not far away from it at all. It might only be minutes away at this point.
It's hard to tell where the center of it actually is.
The center of it is to the northeast of the island, probably by about 5 to 10 miles. It should only be maybe an hour or so.
Hmm.
I would.
So is the storm moving east? Because it looks like it made a wobble to the west.
Either way, it's gonna be a brown ocean effect
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
from
Could it
here.
develop a little bit more as it's going over land?
I mean, sustain
Briefly,
at
yeah.
least, but
For like
since the
maybe
eye
30
is gonna
minutes after landfall.
since the eye is going to be over water for now, still as it wobbles over this island, it should um fine. And so it has still some time to develop, but we're going into more shallow water here, so depends if it speeds up or not.
Yeah, my
I
neighbors are
also
launching fireworks for whatever reason.
I wonder what the system's already done to this water here, considering it's been sitting here for a day, day and a half already.
Hmm.
Like within the.
Yeah, like the
Yeah, just go
upwelling
look
it's
at that
caused.
loop.
I can kind of pull up a guess on what it's done with the HWRF.
All I can tell you guys in Flight Sim, it's not a pretty sight in the eye wall.
All right, let's
For
take a look at
once.
its sea surface temperatures.
Mess.
I'm gonna go back a couple runs just to see what
Flight
it would
Sim
have caused.
2020. Yep.
It doesn't really show that much upwelling. I don't think, at least, no.
Let me see the HAFSA parent. Go back a few runs.
I was looking at the HWRF parent, nothing really.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, upwelling maybe of half a degree or so. It's not going to hurt this. It's not going to stop there from being minus 90s blowing up on the northern side
Yeah.
until after it makes landfall. Which, by the way, Chase, if you ever want to know if a storm is actually succeeding at wrapping up shear typically,
Hmm.
I'll just put it to you this way. When you see this look where you have these massive minus 90s that are stuck in the northern quadrant like this, you see how these like convective
Means it's
towers are just
not.
Yeah.
getting stuck here?
Yeah, just on the northern side.
Yeah, that just tells you it's literally unstoppable force versus a movable object right there.
Yeah, yeah.
So everything gets built up. It's the same thing as like it just gets built up. It gets clogged. It's like a
Yeah.
blood clot in the hurricane in a way.
Yes.
So that's kind of what's happening there. It's just
Hmm.
stuck.
This band worries me quite a bit on the eastern side of the storm.
Yeah, for
The east
rainfall
of it.
totals
Yeah.
towards like
I
Burketown.
was looking at radar and you can clearly see a huge trail of rain coming in.
There is also quite a bit of tornado risk as it makes landfall. Considering in the southern hemisphere where tornadoes occur is going to be flipped because usually in the northern hemisphere it's the northeast quadrant and the southern hemisphere is the southeast quadrant
Okay. All right.
that gets the best shear for tornadoes. So
Okay, so this band is pretty dangerous for the threats of tornadoes.
yeah, not where you see the stratiform, but rather where you see these like thunderstorms that are making landfall on the coastline. There
Which
could
one?
definitely
These
be
right
some
here?
water spouts landfalling. Yeah, where you see the more thunderstorm like elements. Yeah.
Yeah.
these are more dangerous bands for tornado potential here.
Thankfully, it's extremely rural in this area.
Yeah.
There are a lot of rivers that connect in this area, which are, of course, going to flood quite a bit. So
Something else to
watching.
consider about these bands too is like, even though they don't look that potent, these bands have been sitting over this region of Australia for quite a while now.
Yeah. There was, like, 12 hours ago, the Bureau of Meteorology update for the past 2 days. They had, like, 2 feet of rainfall on this little island here.
Another thing too is that since it has been sitting there for a while and it's been over very warm waters, obviously not as warm now since it's been sitting over, but its outer bandings have been over land the whole time, just sitting there raining and raining and
Yeah.
raining, and it will continue
Yeah.
to do that for the next few days.
And it continues to trail in the moisture. You can see a bunch of new storms trying to bubble up here, and then they move onshore. And I don't know, they kind of fizzle out a little bit, but yeah, this is the main threat for the flooding right now, looks like.
I'm just taking a look at these bands to see if I can discern any supercellular elements. Not right now,
So
but
there's this band as well.
maybe something in this larger thunderstorm. But
Power cells pushing in here. Take a look at Zoom Earth.
I think what sucks about Australian radar and radar scope is you don't have actually any velocity data, so you can't actually tell if there is.
What about the storm
Right
surge
now,
elements of
I
this?
would say it's 90 knots. I'm expecting it will make an 85 knot landfall in about 2 hours
All right.
on the main.
All right.
What about the storm surge threat of the storm?
Well, it's not really. I mean, okay, there is, but it's not like a highly populated area, to my knowledge. But
Oh,
there
yeah.
certainly will be near the landfall location, especially on the eastern side of that. But something that you should note is that it's pretty shallow there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't
So,
that worse, or is that...
Yes, that's always worse because it pushes more water ashore. It's like it's slowly gaining momentum. It's not like it
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like if you're coming up on a mountainous terrain, it's like it can only go so far,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
it's mountainous. So not only is the ocean flat, but the land is flat. That's a recipe right there for a lot of surge.
Yes.
And
Not a whole bunch because we're not dealing with a super strong system, but for its intensity, it's going to produce an above average surge.
it's
How
also
high do you
important to
think
consider
that would
too.
be? How high do you think the
So,
storm
do
surge
you
would
guys think that the southern
Southam will get a Cat 5. Yikes, I doubt it.
in April?
In April. I mean,
April, and listen, either that or in the last few days of March in the South.
yeah, I'm thinking it has to be South Pack. There's no other way it's anything but South Pack.
You don't think 18S could pull it off? The later
18S, I think, is going to be like maybe high end Cat 3, low end Cat. It's going to be like a Cat 3 or 4, and it's just going to be a donut. It's going to be like an East Pack system,
Yeah.
kind
It's
of.
going to be purely annual. It's going to be basically an EPAC storm.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
That's
think
what I-
about it like this: 18S has been a named storm for 6 days now. Want to know something?
Mhm.
And it will intensify by like day 3 or so. It should be at like 55 knots or something, and by like day 5, it should be at like 70.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
thinking.
With this appearance, I could see it getting stronger earlier than that. It's definitely looking pretty good.
In the last like 18 hours or so, it's actually the first time that it actually has done anything since being over water. It's just it had like 35 knots and stayed that. This is the first time it's done anything in a decent bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All the satellite animations of this are going to be so annoying because you're going to have to scroll through like a minute and a half of it just blowing up convection for it to finally get to peak.
What do you mean? This storm, or which one?
18S, you're going to
Oh,
be
yeah,
sitting
yeah.
through like 2 minutes of it just doing nothing before you actually get to its decent storm.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. So
So, anyways, with Megan, like I said, I currently think it's 90 knots. I expect an 85 knot landfall.
you expect it to
in about
weaken.
2 hours. Just a little bit, maybe. It could also maintain 85 to 90 knot
Do you think it's
landfall in
possible
2 hours.
for it to strengthen?
It's pretty hard at this point because of the shear, but I mean, you know, frictional convergence could always help it blow the convection up, but at the same time, if the condition isn't there for it to make any structural difference out of it, and any time for the wind to respond, then probably not. I mean, you could see the appearance improve a little bit, maybe, but I don't really think you're going to see it amount to any strengthening.
Yeah. Right here, I'm gonna pull up the models that on how much rainfall they're expecting right now. So the Euro model, this is within the next 3 days. Let me increase it to 5 days. So some areas over a foot of rainfall. It's a lot less than what it was because of how much it's already dumped, but still, a foot of rainfall is a foot of rainfall. Even if there wasn't any rain in the area, that's still that there is some flooding threat in that.
Make sure for other areas that you don't say a foot. Make sure you say millimeters
Yeah.
because not everybody's gonna be able to convert that.
Yep. Let
So
me change it.
yeah, make sure on tropical tidbits on the right side it should be able to give you a millimeter scale if you use total accumulated
Let
precip.
me go over here.
This
So
is
that's
why I
around
say, why
350
can't the
millimeters.
world, why can't the world just use one metric?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, definitely looks like over 300 millimeters. Let me pull up the
Mhm.
Access model. The Access model.
So
This is a more
that's,
higher
yeah.
resolution model. It says in some spots there could be as much as nearly 1,000 millimeters of rainfall. This would be
Wow.
absolutely catastrophic if there was a huge
You
population.
think?
Yeah.
It
Even
still can be
still,
catastrophic if it flows down through the
look
rivers.
at
Yeah.
go to
Just think of
maps.
imagine
This
Google Maps.
look at the amount of rivers near this area.
Yeah. That could eventually flow
Megan's already
downstream
produced
to
more ace than
population.
18s, but it won't
Probably
take the
like
whole lifespan.
it's probably produced like twice to 3 times the amount, right?
I can't really find it here. I'm gonna search it up.
No, it's like
Gulf
almost
of
twice
Carpentaria
the
rivers. Here we go.
Hmm.
All of these rivers, look where all the population is. All of the population here is near the rivers.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is
And
really
think about it,
bad.
you're probably sending a 10, I don't know, 10-ish, maybe even 15-foot storm surge down the rivers combined with several feet, which is like 1,000+ millimeters of rainfall down the rivers towards population centers.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
So
you're talking tsunami level going down the.
a very large quantity of water, yeah, down a very flat terrain over a large area of northern Australia here. So even
Yeah.
though the storm is a small area, its
There,
impacts are very wide reaching.
I would bargain more on the 10-foot side than the 15-foot side, but still, that's still pretty significant if it does occur. So, you
Yeah.
know, that's another thing too that is underrated aspect of the storm surge flooding is the river flooding that
Yeah.
you get from it. It's thankfully there's not more time or a better condition, and that there's been some shear holding this back because the waters here are capable of produce an absolute monster, but the way that it has to track and the timing and the low shear everything has to set up, it's very
Yeah.
very difficult for it to occur here, and then, thankfully the shear was able to keep it basically to where it is. Otherwise you could have a very very strong system.
I'm pulling up rainfall
Think of,
observations right
yeah.
now, and
What
I
was the
see
one
this island right
Northern
here.
Australia cyclone? Not Monica, but the other one that made landfall with like a ridiculous storm surge.
I don't know.
Like a long, long, long
1899.
time ago. 1899, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you're out of my realm.
all right. So on Grove Island, it reported around 431 millimeters in the past 24 hours. I'm trying to see if I can get another little area, not just there. Oh, I guess
How
that is the
fast
place
is the
right here.
storm moving currently? Do we know?
Oh, that is a hard thing to state because it's stalled so much. It's not really like a quick moving storm. So the slower it goes, the harder it is to tell how fast it's actually moving.
Um, it's very close to a landfall wherever it is. It's very close.
Oh yeah, half of the eye is on shore.
Yeah, looks like it's on the island at least.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
or
extreme.
about half.
Yeah.
I think its center. I'm gonna be honest. I think its center. Let me take a picture. Is somewhere in. Let me draw it. I think the center of the circulation is somewhere around here-ish. I think in that region is where the center of it is. Considering I think that southern band is a little further away from the center than the northern is.
Mhm.
I think the northern eye wall is a little tighter and towards the center. Currently, let me see here.
I'm hoping that I can take a look at the warnings. How do I see that on the Bureau of Meteorology website?
Wait, is that simulating the eye of Megan?
What?
What, flight sim?
Flight sim, yeah.
Well, right now I'm trying to fly above the cloud layer.
Okay.
This is just me trying to break the the cloud layer at 50,000 feet.
All right. So
Oh.
crazy. You think that the eye is roughly in this area? Would you all agree? Or the center of the storm?
Yeah, about somewhere in there, give or take a couple miles more. If anything, is closer to yeah.
So is it moving south, southeast, southwest?
It's probably moving southwest, southwest. Something like that.
So it looks like it's been moving southeast. The Bureau of Meteorology cone has
Really?
its.
That's unexpected.
Let me try and pull it up on here.
Oh God.
Their forecast on it, once I can find it. Here we go. They have it. All right, this was their latest cone that they made. I don't know, or they made this cone around 30 minutes ago. Yeah, now they have it crossing over the island right there. So this is where they believe it is. They believe it's more north than that's what we were showing. So they believe it's around maybe over here-ish. I think.
Yeah.
Their thing. Which I don't know how accurate that is. That isn't really. What do y'all think? Because here's the latest radar presentation. This is where the Bureau of Meteorology. Or here, let me pull up 7 o'clock exactly. 7 o'clock, they believe the center was right around here. I don't know. It looks a lot more south than that, in my opinion. Looks roughly in this area. So I think that they're just a bit off on it. They do expect it to still maintain Category 3 status as it's over land within the next 12 hours as it moves inland. They think it's going to take quite a bit for it to actually move on shore. Yeah, there is a huge cyclone warning area. Looks like that's the destructive winds are now approaching the coastline, and the very destructive winds are on the islands over there, uh, including Mulua. They're in the destructive wind, very destructive winds.
Oh my god, flight sim. I think it's showing the storm even better than real life.
All right. All right. So the
Chase,
hazards.
please.
All right, hold on. The hazards, very destructive core of Megan with gusts of up to 200 kilometers per hour, is now impacting the Sir Edward Pellew group and will extend adjacent coastal areas between Bing Bong and the Northern Territory, Queensland border throughout the day as the system
So weird.
approaches
Why?
the area.
Flight Sim's being generous.
Yeah, I know.
All right, I can't show it on stream, but let me take a look at it. Oh wow, nice.
It does not look that good. It is not that organized.
But yet when I fly above it, it looks just as much as it does in real life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so this area they're saying that they could reach 200 kilometers per hour along this coastline. I feel like that's a good estimate, roughly, just basically along the cone. But I mean, it'd basically be in the core. Um, the destructive wind gusts in excess of 125 kilometers per hour are occurring about the Sir Edward Pellew Group. These destructive wind gusts should develop along coastal areas between Nathan River and the Northern Territory and the Northern Territory Queensland border during this morning, uh, before extending to the adjacent areas, including Borrolola later today. So where's that? So that's there. Okay. So they're then saying Nathan River right over here. So this is going to be the spot where they think that destructive winds could occur, roughly in that area, which I think is also a good estimate. And then the gales with damaging wind gusts up to 120 kilometers will develop along coasts between Nathan River and the Northern Territory Queensland border this morning before extending to adjacent inland areas. Same thing as well, but a little bit further. MacArthur River, Mine, Robinson River, yeah, a little bit further. The next one is the gales with damaging wind gusts as well to 110 kilometers per hour, occurring over parts of Groots Elinda. I guess that's over, yeah, right over here. So this is the gale force winds occurring on the island. Thankfully, that's moving offshore. They've been getting so much rainfall. I think that's a good thing, right?
Mm.
To finally get a break on that.
Yeah.
So then, basically, anywhere in the cyclone warning right over here or warning zone, could get gales within the next 24 hours, right along here. Which is the main risk zone. Hopefully, they should cancel this for this island here pretty soon. Alright. Let's see what else there is. Alright, okay, so movement is south at 6 kilometers per hour. So if you'd like to convert that to miles per hour, just for my own sake, let's take a look. Okay, so around 4 miles per hour. So yeah, it's moving incredibly slowly, but if it was 6 kilometers per hour, let me take a look at distance, what that would be like. Don't know where that went. Distance. Yeah, so, yeah, definitely within the next hour, I'd say. It'd take until it makes its landfall on the island, if it does. It's around 33 kilometers away from the mainland coastline. And then afterwards, it's going to be doing quite well. Here I'm showing the elevation to show what it has to deal with. Right there, so yeah, I don't know how bad this is. What would you all have to say
Um,
for conditions? How bad is 1,000 feet up in terms of mountainous
I won't
terrain?
know how you're going from a 1, 2, 3, 4 when you're moving in there.
No. These are points. These are points here. This is the first point, second
Oh,
point. Yeah, and here's the ground, basically right here.
yeah, kind of confusing.
Yeah. But that's basically like your first point through your fourth point, and I can add a fifth, sixth.
All right, well,
How high would you
yeah,
say is 1,000 feet in terms of for a tropical cyclone?
1,000 feet.
Yeah, like dealing with it.
What do you mean, like in terms of what, the wind?
I'm just saying in terms of degrading the structure of it. So it's around 300 meters, 1,000 feet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how bad
Yeah.
is that?
How bad? How? Explain it one more time.
How bad is a 1,000 feet elevation for a tropical cyclone going over it? How bad
Oh,
would it?
that would significantly rip it apart.
All right, so
That's
that's
not
a good
even the
thing.
worst that you can get.
Nice. All right.
Think of the difference between something tracking over Florida or Northern Australia and something tracking over Taiwan or Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
One of them can track over it for 12 hours to a day and only drop about a category or two. One of them, you track over it for 6 hours and you lose 3 categories of strength.
Yeah.
Um, I'll try it.
All right, so let's see what else is there. All right, so let's take a look at the latest frame on radar. This is as of 7:35, which is for whatever reason. Okay, I guess 9 o'clock their time. Wait, why is their time all wrong? It says 9:06. Anyways, okay. All right. So yeah, it looks like it's becoming, or like you can see the eye wall of it pretty clearly on this part. The question is, how far does it extend this way? Because it's missing a whole other part of it. But yeah, it looks like the eye wall is starting to approach the coastal area. I would like to take a look at weather.com's their radar forecast. Let me see if I can find it here. This gives an idea of what it would look like in the area. Let me go down to. Alright, over here it's not really showing anything. This is radar here. Alright, so there's the storm roughly. I guess, could you say that that's its appearance? It doesn't really seem like it, right?
It's not. First of all, it's not that organized, and
Yeah, it's
second of
not
all, the
positioned
core is
there.
not that large.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, what side do you think will have the worst rainfall on the storm? In terms of around the eye wall? Like, what area will
Well,
be the
right
most
now it looks
moist?
like the north side.
Yeah, north side, west side as well.
Deeper convection for longer.
Mm-hmm. You can see more of that deep convection is now approaching
That
land
side's
there.
gonna have. That side's probably gonna have stronger winds too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It doesn't typically happen, right? With these cyclones, it's typically the southern side with the strongest winds. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but we have shear factor here, and that can be. That's definitely an eye, but it's not a very good one. But it's definitely an eye, dude. We're
Yeah.
literally making landfall in like the next few minutes on the mainland.
Yep.
Seriously.
I don't know about that quickly. I mean, it's close, but
No, we are. Look at the satellite, dude. Look at the
let me
heat
take a look at
towers
visible.
wrapping. Heat towers are wrapping.
I see
Look at them.
this
Look at
right
the heat
over
towers. Look at the heat towers wrapping.
one right here.
Look at on the right there is more significant.
Yeah, I can kind of see
Those are significant
something in
heat
here.
towers right there. But the problem is that the coastline is right there. That's the
Yeah.
problem for it. But it's going to pack a punch for those that
When
it
is
hits.
D max for this area?
What do you mean by the max?
Like diurnal maximum. D max.
Probably about 2 hours ago.
Okay. So is this stuff like convection firing in the bands and stuff correlated to that as well? Like all these little
Not.
bandings.
Maybe some, but it's more so the fact that it's just one of those deals where banding features can cycle convection up and down, up and down, and up and down,
Yeah.
and really, I think that the intensification maybe that you're seeing, and the intensification that you've seen of it yesterday, was mostly through natural processes,
Yeah, of course.
really, than it was through a Dmax or anything like that.
Yep. Alright, so let's take a look. I want to see, here, this, let me pull up this radar right here. Kind of shows the conditions over lands, which I like. Here are kind of the areas with the heaviest rainfall. For this time right here, just flip it over 20 or flip it over 12 hours and you'd get your time, I think. Australia. It's basically just inverse. When it says PM, it's AM for you all. Right. So they want the center of it to go over there, but then, of course, it deteriorates. On the eastern side up here, that area, the peninsula, could get some heavy rainfall as well. As you can see, it's not really moving that much over the next 24 hours. Looks like it's going to be stalling for quite a bit. Wouldn't you all agree?
Seems like it. Or
Yeah,
extremely slow movement.
yeah. Which will hopefully weaken the intensity even quicker.
Yep.
But the problem is it has the brown ocean effect on its side. So
Well,
Yep.
here's the thing. Here in the Australian region, at the weakening at first, it's pretty slow. Like I'll give you an example. It's slow last year. It made landfall to high end Category 4. It didn't drop down below a Cat 1 until about 18, 21 hours
yeah,
or so after landfall.
yeah,
And here in this situation, it's obviously not entering it strong, but I still expect that it can remain a Category 1. I don't know, probably 8 hours or so after landfall, about 8 hours,
yeah,
maybe even a little bit longer, because they weaken pretty slow over that. Probably 24 hours after landfall, it'll be still like 45 knots or something.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the brown ocean effect slows the weakening.
I still feel like it will be at least a tropical depression at this point. Right here
Okay, go to
in
these
day
points.
4.
You see the first purple point
Yeah,
right there.
75
I
mile an hour
believe.
remnant low.
I don't think it's going to be a remnant
Yeah,
low,
jeez.
but I believe that it is
Is
going
that
to be about 80, 85 miles an hour.
so?
Yeah,
So Riley, a 195 mile per hour Category 5 makes landfall somewhere in Mozambique, and 1 point after landfall is 180 mile per hour remnant low.
that'd be crazy. I mean,
Listen,
And not
dude,
possible.
um,
you want to know something? You want to
yes.
know what's crazy? If that happened, that would be the JTWC's last advisory on it,
Yeah, yeah, true.
based on how they operate. No
Yeah,
matter what the intensity is, there, if it makes a landfall and it's going like into a main inland and it's expected to die off, then they've issued their last advisory. Because I remember there was, you remember Hayato in 2017?
nope.
Well, it made a landfall in
Um,
China as a major typhoon. It was Category
Alright.
3, rapidly intensified on landfall,
Mm-hmm.
and they issued their last advisory when it was like 100 knot,
Wow.
and that was the last advisory.
Well, their main thing is either
I'm
military
concerned.
bases or shipments, ships.
Yeah, I know. It's in their protocol. It's
Yeah.
in their protocol. It's also in their protocol. They can't go above 70 knots without recon, and even when they had recon that supported higher than that, they didn't use it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not. That's they say they might get it again soon, though, from what I've heard.
All right. So here I'm
More
gonna
recon, the better.
Australia warnings, national warning summaries. This is probably exactly what I need.
Just imagine Jova or Balavan recon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that um, you never really know,
Yeah,
but I think that Jova would be 890s, and I
Mm-hmm.
think Belavin would be 890s too.
Yeah.
think
I think Moar would be the low, very low 900.
yeah, that makes sense. Balavan could be
Here, I'm trying to
actually a
find.
legitimate chance. Balavan could be egregiously deep.
I am somebody that has followed Westpac. I am somebody that closely follows Westpac. It's my favorite base, and I closely watch it, monitor it, all that. And I can tell you for sure that Belavin was stronger than Moar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, not even. Yeah, I think I had it at
And you want to
170
know
knots or
something?
something.
And then when Jova happened, people start saying, "Oh yeah, I think it's stronger than Moar. I think it's the strongest storm in all of 2023."
Yeah.
And I said, I agree so far, but I don't agree. I said, I think the strongest storm of the year hasn't formed yet.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
Yeah. You remember I said that?
Yes,
Yeah,
I remember
I
that
Well,
too.
remember you
guess
saying
what?
that too. Yeah,
Guess what? I'm going to say it right now. The strongest storm of 2024 has not formed yet.
Of course not.
I would,
Well, yeah.
I would certainly hope not.
Well, I'd hope that
Strongest we
I'd hope
got
that
so
you're
far in 2024 is Jiangsu, 120
yeah.
knots.
Yeah. I hope that
Yeah.
there won't be a stronger storm than that. Just especially if it's going to impact land.
I think this year we
This
will
is
see
definitely the strongest
a.
landfall so far of the year,
I
beating
wouldn't be
Alvaro
surprised if this.
and Curly.
You know what's going to happen?
What?
We're going to see a 170 knot
Push.
in between the dates of October 18th and
No.
November 5th in the
Alright.
Philippines.
No.
Yeah.
Or
all right. Let's not.
actually, I think this year we're gonna get that, but it's gonna be in the Caribbean Sea.
All right, that'd be interesting.
Look, if we have 2023's thermos in the Caribbean, like 31.5 degrees Celsius or something, we're in for we're in for that, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just Let's leave it there.
Leave
Yeah.
it there.
It's hard to maintain a favorability for a while,
Yeah.
but if you did, then you could get 170 plus knots. You could get really intense, but it's hard to maintain the favorability for a while due to the permanent ULAC that exists there. That usually the way that it aligns, it's not favorable, but sometimes it can be, or you can just intensify so rapidly, like Wilma, where once you get sheared, it doesn't matter because you accomplish your goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of the that's kind of what happens in the Caribbean. I feel like every time I've seen a 150, 160 plus knot there, it's always just intensified so fast that it doesn't matter.
Well, to be fair, most storms that get there do that, but I know what you're saying. Like it's some sort of even really impressive intensification, even for that intensity. I know what you're saying.
All right. How strong do you think the storm is right now, as of 00Z?
I would maintain 90 knots, 961 millibar.
And what
Well,
about
you keep
18S?
18S, I think could we go would 45 miles per hour actually work for it now?
Yeah, I was at 40 yesterday.
Like, would 45 be reasonable, or is 40 still what you'd hold in this situation?
Well, have we taken a look at ASCATs yet? There's an ASCAT pass on the storm.
Skate.
We got this pass. This was a while ago.
Yeah, it's barely even a tropical cyclone.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, well, it is now, but
I feel like 45 miles an hour is good. Are you all okay with that?
Riley left for some reason.
What?
So Riley left for some reason. I don't
Okay.
know.
All right. Couldn't bear the 45 mile an hour estimate. No.
Yeah, it's either 40 or 45. It's just
I feel like 45's good for. Nah, I don't know. Because they're forecasting it to stay 40 for quite a bit. The JTWC.
I don't. It's actually kind of a tough 50-50 here, because on one hand it's definitely blown up quite a lot of convection today, and it's definitely tightened up a better circulation than it's had. But even still, it's not. It's not strong. Whatever it is, it's not strong. It's
Yeah.
maybe maintain 40 for one more advisory.
Yeah, I think it's diurnal maximum right now as well, so more convection for it. So just don't want to risk it losing all of its convection right as we go 45 miles an hour on it.
Yeah.
So Megan 105 miles an hour, and I'll show this graphic on stream soon. Right now, stream can't really see anything. Alright, let me grab the latest frame. I'll pull it up on stream, guys, don't worry. Very soon.
5 mile.
0.47.
I just
And
saw that.
Nothing's gonna try and
Got
form,
nothing.
right? Like, nothing else is trying to form, right?
Currently, let me take a look at some.
As I was wondering about the South Pacific. Whatever disturbance is here, this one, yeah, has a good circulation with it.
Taking a look at.
Yeah, but this thing called convection,
Yeah.
missing it.
Yep.
It had it, but it lost it. So therefore, it's done.
Yeah.
Only in the South Pack can you convect minus 90s for 7 days and still not form.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
How long
You
do you
wanna
think
know
it will
why?
take for Megan to actually die out?
About 3 days.
Alright,
Yeah.
You got to remember with the BOE effect, it maintains the low end tropical storm slash tropical depression status for like 2 days before
I
it
thought it
actually
would last a
dies.
little bit longer than that,
Yeah.
honestly. Last around 4 days. 4 to 5 days.
Yeah, because it lasts as a depression for a couple days before it actually weakens below it, right?
And sometimes they can last as remnant lows for quite a while as well.
This new GFS run shows it being a remnant low off the west coast of Australia for about 3 more days after it's already died.
Let me take a look at it. Yeah, I see it.
The South Indian needs ace. It needs 18S to come through.
I don't know if it's gonna try it though. How successful it will be at least.
Take a look at height anomalies and
It's
see.
gonna play another Angrek, right? Or yeah. Try
No,
and
it's not. That's not likely.
well, not stall, but you know.
Honestly, though, but the issue is once it gets kind of far enough west, it
Goes
has
south.
this break in the ridge here that kills it. Yeah.
It's not going to be a Freddy.
Yeah.
Listen, the ECM takes it down to 977 millibar, so I would believe that it will be a hurricane.
975 actually. On this
Okay.
point right here.
And Greg had
Well, then I
a
believe-
very good
Right.
had a very good oceanic environment for where it was.
Mhm.
Ready?
It stalled for
Yeah,
such
hey.
a long time. Like around, or it lasted around a month, I think, by
Look,
our estimates,
listen.
including
You gotta
Tropical
realize-
Cyclone.
You got to realize with a situation like that, there's so many odds against that occurring. There's so many things that when it formed that wasn't set up for it to do that had to change. Everything had to fall in place. It had to get so lucky to do that. And then it came back over water and said, "No, I've got unfinished business. I'm going for the record." And it's almost like that time where I remember I seen a video on TikTok. And this is after Tom Brady retired, and Julian Edelman said there was one time when he only had 3 Rangers, and he said, "Yeah, we can get you to pass Montana," and he said, "Fuck no, I'm not going for Montana. I'm going for Jordan," and the motherfucker did it too.
Nice. Alright.
Yeah.
Alright. Off screen, I'm setting up everything for the thingy.
Now, could you imagine if Freddy happened and then Ilsa actually reached 82 millibars?
Wow.
Ow.
Crazy.
Dude,
Back-to-back.
One day
Alright.
something. I think Orson 1989 might have been below 900 millibar.
Alright, here, I'm going to pull this up on the stream, the graphic. It was just made.
that imagery of Morrison.
Here's the graphic on what's going on around the wide world of tropics. Not a lot. We got just 2 systems really meandering around. And they've been quite stationary recently. They haven't moved much, both of them. Other than
Yes,
that,
I wonder where you got that line. The wild world tropics.
yes.
Hmm.
Alright, I'm going to post this on Twitter off screen. See, right. Oh, shoot.
Meanwhile, I'm just chilling in the eye of the storm in Flight Sim.
Nice. Alright, I'm gonna. Alright. Stream is kind of not showing anything as I'm pulling it up and sending it on Twitter. Alright.
Who else would vouch for Cyclone Latan 2.0?
Cyclone. Megan.
Latan.
Continues. Intense. does it make?
I think it's a.
Australia.
Yeah, I haven't seen imagery of Worston. I want to see what Worston looks like.
Venus is
Worston.
struggling.
When the observation was recorded, it was not at peak, and it was a jet interaction, which is known to be always stronger than it looks.
Yeah. Okay. Starts to. I just can't find
There
any
we go.
satellite
So there.
imagery of it. Searching everywhere and I can't find it.
Alright, so let's go back to this. The observation has, the pressure has increased slightly. Right here from 984.2 millibars to a pressure of 984.4 millibars. So instead of it decreasing, it has done its first increase so far. But the winds have also increased as well. We got a gust of 68 knots. So nearly 70 knots now.
Wind direction.
A direction southwest, I think, yeah. Towards the southwest, I believe. Here, let me pull it up. The station is right over here. This spot's down over here. So the wind's blowing that direction, right? Yeah. Right over here, that's the most intense spot, and it's blowing that way. So that makes sense if the eye was here. Wait, no. I think I'm wrong. Am I? Yeah, I am. My bad. The winds are blowing this way, coming from the southwest. That's what it meant, I think, yeah. Towards the weather station. And it says that observation has 223.8 millimeters of rainfall since 9 a.m., so that's quite a lot. Right, let me see if I can pull up more observations other than just that. Right. I don't know where to go for observations exactly. Pull this up maybe. Go back to here. Northern Territory. Observations. Here we go. It's not Mornington Islands. It's to the west of there. Coastal observations, I guess. Not there. We're trying to look at wind. How would we look at this, Riley? Do you know? No, he's on mute. Oh yeah.
Could you explain a little bit about what you mean?
I'm trying to
Maybe I can
find the
give you an
wind
answer.
observations, kind of like this one right here.
Okay. All right. What are you trying to get out of this?
I'm trying to find other wind observations, pressure observations, stuff like that.
BRB.
Okay. Let me see if I remember how to do this here. Yeah. Yeah, you got to go to the selection of weather stations that they have on their
Is this
website.
it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. There's that. Yep, right there. Well, these show the stations. That's, let me double check. This one is named, I don't know how to find it. But yeah, on
It
this
says
island
it
over
on it.
here, there was observations of 750 millimeters. Over here, 237 millimeters. But yeah, so far during this whole event, 750 millimeters during the past 6 days.
And how much? How long?
It's 6 days, but most of it happened very recently.
Right.
Like all these areas, that shows 0 for whatever
And
reason.
it was as you know, it was developing before it even hit the water.
Yep. Here it is daily. This was
Do,
today.
Chase, do you like it?
431 millimeters was just
Do you
today
like it?
alone.
I like it when they develop before they even hit the water. It's like it's interesting. You're like, wow.
Yeah,
It's
quickly
like,
forms.
damn.
So when it
Yeah.
already has its circulation together, it can quickly develop when it hits the water as well.
I mean, it did. It literally developed over land.
Hmm. Let me see if
Wow.
I can. I found this observation here. Try to see if I can find wind for this.
Well, there was times when
Okay, there's the
it was
location.
over water.
Hmm.
Not you know, very very shallow, but very very warm water. So that also gave it a boost in development. Once it got
Yeah.
to the Gulf of Ontario, it
Alright, is the eye
rapidly
trying to form up
intensified.
again?
Well, let's pull up imagery here. Well, on IR, you're not going to see
Well, I
an
don't see it there.
IRI with this deep of convection. You're not going to see an IRI develop ever in this storm.
Is it easier to see it on visible? I guess.
Yes.
Alright. I noticed
Can
that
you
there's the heat
really?
towers right over here-ish.
Yep, you see the heat towers, and that shows you
I see that there's a little bit of something down there.
a little bit of like a less cloudy area, so to speak.
Yeah, I
Right?
can see it right in this area, I guess, right?
Right. A little bit of a less cloudy area. That's what you're looking at there, with the heat towers wrapping around it.
Yep, right around
Yeah.
here, the heat towers. So let's verify that on radar imagery, the latest frames.
Radar is really struggling to pick it up now.
Yeah, it's just showing the western eye wall.
This definitely isn't like a Blobbin where you could see it on radar 55,000 feet away from when it was scanning 55,000 feet up.
Yeah.
Let me see actually how far away it is on radar now. 30,000 feet and you could barely detect it, yeah. So this isn't
Oh.
the same thing there. Like, with storms like Blobbin, you could literally see it on radar when the beam height was over 50,000 feet, which I've
Yeah,
never
yeah, I
seen before.
remember. It basically left the radar circle, uh, and it
Yeah.
was still detected, but up until it finally cropped out of the radar circle, where it's actually scanning. Alright, so,
I think we would have seen it even a few more thousand feet up
You
out
know
of
what
the.
that means? That just goes to show how developed and how strong the lava
yeah,
was.
like, the how high
Yeah.
up the eye wall is developed.
Ridiculously powerful convection that. Like, it got to the tropopause, but it didn't just get to the tropopause. It was like trying to drill the tropopause.
Yeah. Alright,
So,
so I'm gonna take a look at estimations on what the winds would be like based off of model data. Let me pull up kilometers per hour instead. Alright. Pressure, they use millibars as well, right? So, yeah. Um, so this would be wind speed, sustained wind speeds, roughly. Wind gusts will do a better job at showing how strong winds are likely right now. Of course, it's likely a lot stronger than this, like 130 kilometers per hour occurring onshore, right over here to the east of the eye, and also the center's not exactly where it's supposed to be if you shifted it a little bit more west. But let's say this was the center. You can see the offshore flow, which is blowing the water away. There might be a little bit of storm surge on this island. What do you think right here? That's part of it.
um, I mean,
There,
yeah,
there can be, yeah,
Yeah, just a
but
bit.
that would be especially dangerous for Malua, that island there. Once it gets into the backside of the eye wall,
Oh, yeah.
those very strong westerlies ripping across the western part of that island is going to be very dangerous for
Yeah,
that
like
little
this
village
part,
there.
right?
Yeah.
This is what you're talking about, yeah. Slamming through this island right here. It's a perfect example on showing what's the storm surge is like as it hits land. It's going to be the part to the east of the storm, and then it picks up very rapidly in the strongest winds, then it slowly calms down. But anywhere all the way, like, I'd say through this whole area could receive a bit of storm surge, right? But the most is in this zone. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yeah.
I feel like the more darker the colors,
yeah,
the worse the storm surge.
yeah.
but definitely just to the east of the storm.
Hmm.
All right, Borolula. Let's see. Yeah, they could definitely get wind gusts of over 130 kilometers per hour. Okay, as it moves around, I think that's the largest city in the area, right? And it's right along a river, so that's not good. All right, try and see if there's any other cities in the path of it. Not really. Thankfully, it should weaken quickly, not really be a strong, severe tropical cyclone. Should degenerate down to a tropical low fairly soon. We'll still have a good circulation, looks like. But yeah, wish that this could show rainfall. They do show a precipitation forecast here right now. It does look like the western side of it's going to have the worst, right? Because of what's radar showing that far away. Wouldn't you all agree?
Well, based on that, then yeah.
This part of it, basically, but it extends a lot further, just not being detected. I guess this includes part of it as well, right? This area, basically being this zone.
Yeah, yeah. And if you look on satellite, see what you see there. If you see strong banding,
Satellite right
I
there.
mean, I see some intense convection there, so I could see that being the case.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see if there's a new cone that we got out from the Bureau of Meteorology. All right, because they should be doing hourly updates, right? Is that correct?
I mean, yes, but they're only going to be position and intensity.
Yep. All right, so this is still the last cone, or so far. I'm gonna pull this up right here just so I have the image available for whenever the new one comes out, so we can compare it. How long does it typically take for this cone to come out? Um, or like the newest positioning update for it?
They
Do you
usually
know?
do it like about 30 minutes or so after the hour.
I thought it was around like 5, 10, 15 minutes.
It varies. I would keep checking every 5 minutes or so then.
Mm-hmm. It looked like we had a lightning strike. I don't see it on here. I was pulling up satellite and they were showing a lightning bolt right there. Um, that was a while ago then. Yeah, that was around 1.5 hours ago, and then there hasn't been another one since. So definitely a good sign that it's weakening. Back to weather radar. I'm noticing that this is starting to appear up again on radar. That's the
Well,
part of the eye wall, right?
well, it's mostly probably maintaining. Yeah, that rain right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
it's
now that's
mostly
finally getting
probably
detected.
so. Listen, it's mostly probably maintaining now, but
But I
in
mean,
about
it's a
two
good
hours,
sign that it's not
in about
strengthening.
2 hours from now, it'll be slow. When
hmm
it's over this, when there's this thing called land, that it'll be over.
Okay, here's the newest frame on radar as well. As you can see, it's
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you heard of the what land is. Is a it's a decently unknown concept. Not sure.
all right. Crazy. Do you see this right here? The eye wall right here being detected on radar.
Yeah.
Now we
Um.
finally get the side. So the western side would be the strongest, right? On this in this case.
Western and northern, probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
northwestern.
tide building up sheer.
Yeah.
When the storm's not moving relatively quickly, even though the other side is moving towards land, like the wind is going with the storm, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And the motion of the storm, your strongest winds are going to be on the side with the stronger convection.
Yeah.
It's going to take priority over that.
Yep.
If the storm was moving quickly, it'd be the other way around, but the storm's moving pretty slowly, so.
Yeah. And that side is the one with the most convection as well on the western side.
Yeah,
There's a new
western and north.
convective burst on the north right here.
Yeah, that should be ongoing for a while. These on the northern side seem to be ongoing for quite a while because it's literally they just get stuck. They
Yeah.
just keep wanting to fire and fire and fire.
Oops, wrong thing. Pull up this imagery, trying to take a look more closely at that burst. It's harder to see on here. I mean, you can. It's right there, towards the end of the loop in this area. But yeah. It seems like just the convection is already placed in such a large area. I don't think that that's really gonna matter. I
It's already
mean, yeah, it's already has so much convection on it. It's not gonna it's not really needed like Filippo to wrap all the way around the storm. It doesn't really need to do much. When should the convection start fading away? Like start waning? When do you think that's gonna start?
when convection will start waning, probably once it makes its final landfall, we'll see convection slowly wane.
Mm-hmm.
We'll also, in the same manner as with Filippo and all those other storms, we're going to probably see a band offshore of very strong storms
Yeah.
on heading onshore, as you typically see. We're going to see very strong thunderstorm fire
Hold on, there was a
offshore.
comments about something. Let me plug it in here. Oh,
Or at
someone's
least I
saying
think.
there will be a strong storm in the northern part of Puerto Rico. There will be heavy rain for a cold front with a little rain for the weekend downpours. Nothing heavy. All right, so something also going on in Puerto Rico. Looks like. I'm gonna try and
Eh, hold
plug
on.
that in. Not really much, I'm guessing.
Cold front,
I don't see anything.
nothing.
Yeah.
That could also be long range, gargled up, whatever.
Yeah.
So, eh. Um,
All
it
right.
seems like 18 has a bit of issues right now. The thing with 18 that's a problem is that its southeast band is stronger than its main core trying to develop in terms of convection.
There's a lot of lightning in associated or association with the storm, right? Lots of good thunderstorms.
Um, yeah, but it's all in the band. It's not actually in the center of circulation.
Well, here, let me pull up satellites here. That's where it is, right here. See, it is in part of the
Oh,
center. Yep.
That's 18S.
Yes.
yeah,
That's I don't know, man. That looks like it's sheer to me.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Doesn't
There's like no lightning activity with the storm, so that's pretty good.
it doesn't look crazy sheared, but it is a bit. I do see what you mean.
To me, it looks like it's doing good. I do like the fact that we can
It's
take a look
doing
at the outer
better.
bands of it.
Let me take a look and see what the upper level environment is for 18S. Now. It's actually decent. It's a little bit sheared, mainly from the northwest, it looks like.
All right.
And then it aligns properly with the U-lock here within probably the next day or two. So I would say it'll probably slowly intensify, if any at all, over the next day or two before starting to really get its act together by day 2.
Yeah.
Given that look, it's stacking properly under the U-lock is a huge factor.
Yep.
Whenever I say U-lock, by the way, it's just upper level anticyclone.
All
That's what
right.
that means.
So I'm noticing that there's another round of heavy rainfall approaching the land over here in Australia with the association with or associated with the band flowing this way. These bands can have some heavy rain or heavy wind in them, right, as well. Thunderstorm gust as well.
Brief spin ups too. I'm noticing a lot more
Singular
pink
cells, yeah.
more too. You can see where there could be potentially a brief water spout or tornado spin up, but generally shouldn't be too big of an issue.
But yeah, that is the area of the biggest tornado threat, right in here.
Yeah.
Especially this island right here, but it's not really showing up on radar, I don't think. No, it does, okay. There was cells that passed over there. I don't think we have observations for that area. I may be wrong.
All right, let me take a look at other things.
Alright, we do have observations on there. 32 millimeters in the past day. I'm going to refresh it, see if it's updated. Oh, come on. Alright. It's gone from 32 to 74. So yeah, and the last time we checked, it's gone up quite a bit. So it's basically around an inch of rainfall fell. So like 30 millimeters ish fell in that spot. So yeah, there is heavy rainfall associated with this. These bands
Where is that?
move through this island right here, right down here.
All right.
This band had a roughly an inch of rain, or 25 millimeters. Go
Wow,
through it.
that's actually over a very short time too.
Yep. Since I last checked the observations, it's gone from 35 to like 75-ish. Or however much it was. But yeah, these bands do have heavy rainfall in them. So especially this, it's very dangerous, especially the spots that track over one another. Like these cells moving in the same direction, or when these two bands are going to be colliding in, and then basically just moving over the same spots. These cells, by themselves, they are dangerous, but when they track over one another, that's even more dangerous and deadly. Just in terms of how much flooding can occur. Okay, I just noticed the new span. You see all that rain pop up? Right there in the southern eye wall?
Yeah.
That's more of radar getting better, right? It's not really the storm organizing.
Maybe a little bit. That is some better CVUs, but
I feel like that's it's just radar finally able to properly scan the storm. Because radar's dealing with these rain showers, right? Yeah. I think that's the problem with it, right?
somewhat.
Just the banding is covering it. So yeah, you see how earlier there's these the bands go like this right here, so it kind of blocks it from actually being able to see it completely wherever the radar is. But then now once they're finally moving out of the way, then you can kind of see it better if you were going like through there. I think the radar's on that island, yeah. So yeah, it looks like the eye wall is right around here, so I guess the eye would be overland, over this island, would you say?
I would say yeah, it's definitely making landfall right now.
Yep.
If it hasn't already made landfall.
JTWC updated it to a Cat 3.
Alright, figured.
What?
Thought they would.
AUS or
JTWC.
what or not?
Yep.
What? Oh God, I can't wait to see the Discord.
I would maintain 90. I
Yeah.
think it's aggressive.
I
mean,
can't
there's
wait
r-
to see what Discord thinks about that.
Oh my god.
God.
Yeah, that's I would maintain Cat 2. Would
Mhm.
maintain 90 knots.
Yeah, yikes.
You don't think it's strengthened any?
No. There's no. I don't think I've ever seen a Cat 3 look like this. With
Yeah.
a half open eye wall and like barely not even able to wrap CBs around its north side. Like, you'll never. I'll put it this way: you should never see a major look like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Hey, listen, if the convection wasn't so loose, it would be different. But it's loose.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole side of the storm that literally has barely had any convection over the past 24 hours. Like, and if
This
it has,
area,
it's been
right.
very intermittent.
Okay, this is my opinion. It's obvious this is a hurricane, but it's not a major. I would say Cat 2 is the best estimate.
Yeah.
I agree.
Alright, trying to take a look at the new
It gives
convection
me
burst didn't do anything
the
much.
structure of it kind of reminds me of like Sally in a way. How it's moving like slow towards landfall with a very sheared structure, sort of almost comma structure.
Hmm.
Gives me very heavy like Sally 2020 vibes too. And
Yeah.
Kamiri. Obviously I've said Kamiri, but this like sheared sort of comma head structure, due to the shear, just like is very common in these sort of Cat 1, maybe Cat 2 strength storms here,
Hmm.
like this.
Take a look at these cells right here. These convective burst and the band right there moving in. Thankfully, it looks like it might be over soon. I don't see any new convective burst. There is one right over here. It's kind
Yeah,
of
we'll see these
shifting.
bands intermittently intensify and weaken over the next few hours here.
Yeah. Hopefully, it just continues to weaken. That
Agreed.
band there, just because that's the main tornadic threat and flood threat there in terms of when they train over one another. It's a huge problem.
Looks like there might be a weak supercell to the west of the radar here, AMIS. And
Let me pull up my phone. Okay, I see the radar. Yeah, it's on the island. So yeah, it looked like it had an opening from the precipitation briefly or something, and that's how it was able to properly scan the stuff. And how would the hook is like this is the cell you're talking about, right? Like this.
um no, the one to the north of it, I think.
Oh, okay. How do
Yep.
the cells form? They form a hook like this, right?
Yeah. This is pretty typical like tropical supercell behavior here.
But I'm just saying since it's in the southern hemisphere, that's
Yeah.
why the hook's like that. So that's what it would look like, right?
Yeah.
All right, nice.
Tropical supercells also sometimes look a little different than like usually hooks on tropical supercells are pretty poor to find.
All right.
Um so
Do they have velocity? No, they do not. Okay. But
even if they did a velocity, it'd be barely noticeable.
yeah.
So
All right. So it looks like I was looking at my phone overall. It looks like that the rain is starting to move more, or like the bands are starting to move away from that little area. They've been in this area originally, then they've turned over here. And now they're going to start turning this way, I guess. Kind of like that ish. Or no, they were like this in the beginning. Then they start flattening out more. And they're going to be kind of like this. It's slowly being pushed back that direction. Mainly, so this area right here is going to be in the bullseye for the next target in terms of heaviest rainfall. Alright.
check your Discord, Chase.
Alright.
Check IPTCWC.
Okay. We're now. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's funny. 100 knots. Alright. So time to see if the Bureau of Meteorology cone has updated at all. It should have. No, it has not. That's weird. I thought it would update. I guess it would take 30 minutes after the hour. This was the thing as of 6:30 a.m. their time. It's now almost 10 their time. I guess they're going off of, I don't know what they're going off of. Local time, it's almost 10
Is what it is,
o'clock.
guys. Is that estimate that JT's going off of is based off 18Z, so they're editing the last estimate to be a Cat 3. The new estimate is not out yet, but their Dvorak estimate is. It maintains a 5.0, 5.0. But we
Right.
will have a minimum of 90 knots at
So
the
they think it's
00.
maintaining right now. They don't think it's strengthening.
Okay.
Right, which, I mean, if anything, I would say that maybe it's deepened a few millibars. but that's it. But not really significantly enough to
Yeah.
bump the winds up.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not deep and past the JTWC estimate down into the 940s.
Oh well.
It's not.
it
It's
was-
well, they say 951. It's not. It's like
Yeah.
it's in the 960s, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think when they had 961, I think they had it right. I don't know why they edited it. I
Mhm.
think they had it right.
Totally.
Right. Have they updated 18? No, they have not. Or I don't know. Well, I'm seeing the 18 UTC update was 100 knots. For that, and 18 UTC for Tropical Cyclone 18 is 35 knots. What?
I was wondering who did react to that.
Right,
I want
nice.
to see where the center is. Oh.
It's very hard to tell where the center is.
Of 18S, if you
Oh,
look
that
at,
center.
you can tell where the center is. Look at where the clouds are rotating around.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's easier.
This is
to-
actually
yeah.
good for the structure. This is actually a good structure. You have a band here to the southeast. You have convection pretty close to the center, northwest side. I've seen this structure a lot in the north hem, just flipped. Especially, I'd say like 12 hours or so before a storm really starts to intensify. It's pretty common to see this kind of structure where you have one.
The outflow is pushing back too.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is definitely looking quite a lot better.
I noticed the convection is waning on the northwest.
I mean, yeah, but it's also look at the time of
Tomorrow
day.
I might be able to
starting
get to 40 knots.
Mhm.
Nice.
Wait, what? What about 40 knots?
It's getting
I'm kind
closer.
of joking
Yeah.
because it's been holding 35 knots for like 6 days. I'm
Oh,
saying, yeah, was it looking better? Maybe tomorrow it can get to 40 knots.
Mhm.
No, it should be like 45 knots. And then in like 2 days, it should be like 55 knots. And then in 3 days, it should be like 65 knots. You know what I'm saying? Just gradually
Yeah.
strengthen.
Yeah. I mean, it's stacking under the U-lock is definitely a good sign.
You
though.
lock ULAC upper level anti-cyclone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's definitely like over the next day or two. I think is when it'll really stack. That's what I'm seeing so far. Right now, it's a little bit on the northwest side of it, which is causing the bit of shear it does have.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What is radar showing right now in the storm? It's hard telling what that piece of rain is right over here on the end loop. I guess that's part of the eye wall, right?
No, that's not.
This isn't. Yeah, I don't think so.
No, yeah. It's almost kind of curved bandy-ish. It's not like a super well closed and defined eye wall right now.
Yeah.
Obviously it is an eye wall. It's just not a very good one.
hmm I remembered watching Tammy's eye wall evolve when it was near the radar, and I could see it get 3/4 of the way there, then shear would destroy it. Then it get 3/4 of the way
Yeah.
there, then shear would destroy it again. It was like that Siphius meme. It was keeps trying.
Unstoppable force versus a movable object.
Yeah.
So
All right, let's see what's this. All right, now hopefully the thing will update. Nope, still has not updated. Surprised it hasn't. I forget what
Alright,
time
actually-
it updates.
here's a good example of what I mean by 18S is a decent structure. Here's
Mhm.
here's a structure of a few storms like when they're sort of in this 40 to 50 knot range.
All right.
And you'll see what I mean by a similar structure-ish. It's especially the Westpac where you see this kind of evolution a
I'll
lot.
pull this up on stream. Yeah, this right here, the banding.
Standing on, and where the center usually is in these cases is look just to the southeast of where that big old convective burst is.
Yeah, right over here-ish. kind of in here.
Um, yeah, somewhere in that region is usually where you'd
Yeah,
find this.
like how it makes it
Is
look like
that
it's an eye.
Let me think. Let me take a guess what that is. That's fucking. What's that storm from 2022?
Well, there's
That was
islands here.
what storm was that?
This
Yeah,
this storm was
it's from 2022.
Namadol.
That's
The
right.
yeah,
All right.
I thought it was the one to the east.
the super giga mega ultra
Look in the
monsoonal.
chat. In the chat, I just sent a microwave.
Nice. The
Ooh, hold on. Is that right now? Ish. No.
Well, it's old, but it's the most recent one we have.
Yeah, that
Decent.
looks pretty good, but it shows that the western side is the best.
western to northern, where you can really
The
see.
northern side's the strongest, but the west and southern side, just not the east.
Yeah,
Nice.
emphasizing the struggles it had with its eastern side.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that picture I sent you, Namadol,
Mm-hmm.
that storm is the same one that I showed you where it had the outflow extending the whole entire Westpac.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it had the Giga Ultra Super
Do
Mega
you want to
outflow.
see something more Giga Ultra?
Oh
Look up
god.
Tianfu 2004.
Dianmu 2004. I haven't seen his
Oh, yeah.
outflow, but I've seen
Very
wait, what?
monsoonal.
You said Dianmu, right?
Diane Moo.
Dianmu. Dianmnu. In my opinion, it was in the 870s. 870 millimole.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing analysis on the top 10 storms so far right now. You all are part of it.
I've got it at 175 knots,
Mm-hmm.
877
What is
millibars.
our team's analysis on it so
Wow.
far? Or the groups? Don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah, I see what you mean by had ridiculous outflow.
yep,
What
we
in
have Diane Moo as the top so far on the list. We've only done 2 storms, so
sense, yeah.
all right. So how
Dianmu is
close
the
is the
right kind of
storm
storm to
until
have a
landfall right
175
now?
knot intensity. Ridiculous pinhole. Actually, what would Patricia 2015 be progged as for intensity? I guess.
Let's not talk about intensity right now on old tropical cyclones.
Yeah, I understand.
Yep.
Um,
So yeah, I'm wondering why isn't radar showing any rain in this area? Would you say?
I
um,
don't know. It's not picking it up very good,
So
obviously.
it's not dry air. There should be rain in here, right?
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
Let me pull up what imagery looks
it's
like.
likely
Here it is.
just
Well, there is some dry air right here, where there's nothing.
let me
Right.
take a look at visible. I mean, honestly, there really might not be that much. There's probably some rain here, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
If there is any, it's just shallow little showers. That's it.
Yeah.
That are definitely top below 30,000 feet. So
I feel like it's pretty easy to tell these ones right here. There's new bands forming now or new convective burst forming along that band. That's wrapping around the center. Thankfully, the
yeah,
storms fizzle out before they go too far inland. Um, but of course, those clouds will wrap around. But it's like a infinite moisture generation there, when there's just because it's constantly pulling out the warm waters and just dumping the rain on land. Fizzles out, and then it gets new ones to form, and then that fizzles out. So yeah, it dumps all the rain right along the coast and further inland, like this area right now, getting the heaviest, and then it's going to keep extending more and more to the east.
Oh, I'm sure.
If
Perfect,
this
guys. I'll
was
be
the
back on
United
in a bit.
States, there would likely be flash flood warnings for those areas. Don't you? Do you agree?
Um, yeah, I would argue if this is the U.S. and those eastern bands, there might be FFEs
Yeah. I
issued.
don't think emergencies, but just flash flood warnings
I
at
mean,
most.
think about it. These bands have been sitting here for how long now?
Uh, well, they've moved in different areas basically. Like the
Yeah, but
ones that were over
still,
here has then shifted this direction. Now they're
these are
shifting
pretty
this direction.
extreme rainfall rates
Yeah.
still. So you got to consider that.
hmm I do think like a couple flash flood warnings would be issued, just not for like the entire region. Right. A new
Yeah.
radar frame came out. Let me pull this up. I think so, at least. Yeah, here it is right here. I think it's pretty clear telling on where the eye is, right?
Is it moving west?
I think so, just a bit. But this looks like where it would be, right? Right?
Yeah, but look where it was. It was to the
Let
like
me
east
play it.
northeast of the island, and now it's yeah, it's moving like west southwest.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right, this right here is
I'm gonna
a convective burst, I'm guessing, right over here or something. Not really the
yeah
eye wall, but this right
yeah
here should be it.
that
So,
is new convection firing area. I'm gonna hop out of here for a bit, guys. I'll be back on like 30 minutes or so.
alright, hold on. I'm gonna see if the cone is updated. No, it
Yeah,
hasn't. Okay, never mind. Alright, so yeah.
I'll see you guys.
Alright. So yeah, I don't really notice any new convective bursts down to the south. They're typically on the north for right now. I can't change anything for whatever reason. Oh, that's why. Alright. Yeah, it's mainly on the northern side. These heat towers right here, um, forming around it. So the northern part of the eye wall should become a little bit more visible on here, I'm guessing, on radar. Kind of hard though. But yeah, on my radar, I can see kind of where the eye wall, or on my phone's radar scope. But on here, I can show you all. It's basically like this right here. So the center is somewhere in between all these little islands. So landfall should be imminent soon in terms of the mainland area. Definitely looks like there's going to be landfalls, or definitely looks like there has been a landfall on this island over here, containing Mulua. And of course, it's going to continue to move further in, but this area is very marshy, right? So this area really shouldn't weaken it too much. It's not like it has a bunch of mountainous terrain, but eventually it should start
That
gradually weakening.
that shouldn't, but once it gets inland, once the whole eye is on land, about probably 15, 20 minutes after that, it'll
Mm-hmm.
start to weaken.
All right. All right. So, how much rainfall do you think will fall with this overall?
It's hard to say, but I would guess well, well into the 15 plus inch mark.
Yeah. So definitely around like the 400 millimeter range. Icon model went a lot more on the islands. They went like up to 600 millimeters. The Access model, the one that that's used locally there, it's around almost 1,000 millimeters, which is a lot worse. Basically up to like 3 feet of rain, 2 to 3 feet. The GFS shows a lot more simpler of a run here. Just shows the center of the heaviest rains here. Keep in mind that might not be entirely accurate because the area of highest wind or the highest rainfall can easily shift based on where the center makes landfall. So and when it and wherever it ends up going. So don't be fooled by it's going to miss out on the Robinson River. No, it easily shift down just directly south and dump heavy rainfall in that area. So you always want to be prepared for that. Man, there are lots and lots of rivers down here. That's basically just it's funneling up all the. I wish I could show a better graphic. Um, Zoom Earth doesn't really show the rivers, I don't think. They kind of do. We go back to, I don't know, just winds here. But yeah, right over here, it funnels those winds into the river, right? Or funnels the water into the rivers right on the eastern side of the storm. On the western side, you might actually see a little bit of a decrease because the wind's pulling away from the beach. But yeah, anywhere mainly in this zone could receive some storm surge. Not a lot, but in this area. But over here, you'd expect the highest moderate amounts for mainly that area, and then just lower amounts. And over here, shouldn't really be much of a problem in the rest of the area over here. They're not really getting onshore winds, and if they are, it's not really that strong. All right. So yeah, basically you can really expect if these were ongoing right now, at least 130 km/h winds, um, mainly just all around the storm. The strongest winds would be on the western side, northern side, maybe even the southern side. Eastern side should be a little bit weaker, and that's really a good thing as well because of storm surge, right? You know, you'd expect a lot less of a storm surge threat if the winds that are blowing onshore are weaker. But do not let your guard down. Do you find it interesting how the storm did make a little bit of a loop earlier before now finally speeding up? Right. According to where it's forecast, what it was forecasted to be right now, it's kind of in the same region. Looks like the low is a little bit over here.
Yeah, about 10, 15 minutes, Jason. I gotta go.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's a
Yep.
little bit east of where it was initially expected to be, but still overall a
It
good
looks more
forecast.
west than where it was expected to be on here.
Oh, really? More west?
Yeah, you see?
Okay.
So, I mean, it
All
looks
right, a
like the
little more
line
west
on where
now.
it's supposed to be is where the eye wall is. I mean, part of the eye is in it, but and the timing on where it should be right now is overland on one of the islands. All right, time to check the Bureau of Meteorology cone. Still not updated. I don't know why. Because it says it was issued 7:18 ACST. Okay, so 7 a.m. as in okay. Now I get it. All right, ACST. All right, so we should get another cone within the next 3 minutes. All right, that looks pretty likely. Within the next 5 minutes. Because ACST, the Northern Territory time, it's 10:14, almost 10:15, so we're nearly at the 3 hour mark from 7:18. So yeah, we should get a new cone because it is 10 o'clock there, and that's when they're probably gonna. They should release a new cone, right? Yeah,
Now they should, because it's 00Z hour,
yeah.
and they should be processing that, and they should have one out soon. That's why this update's taking a little longer, because this is going to be the main update here that you see.
Mhm.
And do you see that place where they have the one?
The one, yeah, right over here.
I believe right there is when it will be weakening to a tropical storm. Just starting to weaken to a tropical storm on the regular scale.
Yep. And then over
Right.
here, of course, I don't really like
Over
the
there,
fact that
you will
their
have
scale is a
by
tropical
that
low.
time, the end of
Yeah.
the second low, you will have a tropical depression.
Yeah. Something around that, yeah. And then it should stay as a tropical depression for quite a bit of time before finally weakening down to remnant low and then dissipating wherever it decides to. Right. Are there any fronts right now that are ongoing over Australia? Looks like something right over here. Not really though, right? Alright. Here, I'm going to take a
I
look at
don't
the
really.
latest observation from the Bureau of Meteorology. Where is it? Right here. There we go. Alright. The pressure, and it's still not really an update. It hasn't done anything in the past 30 minutes. I did notice that, okay, so pressure did decrease again, but now it increased once again. Now the rainfall's resets. So in 30 minutes, it had an amount of 13 millimeters. So basically around a half an inch of rain per hour. And so now it's at 20 millimeters, so almost an inch of rain in the past hour for this area right over here has gotten around an inch in the past hour. So those are heavy rainfall rates. They're not in the eye wall exactly, so they're in the eye though. That's what I find quite interesting. So I guess the eye is going to be covered in rain, right? Not really a, not really clear. Is that correct? Riley?
Right, right. It won't be really as clear. It'll be calmer,
Yeah, but
not
the
as calm as
yeah,
if you had a
it shouldn't be
well-defined eye.
completely clear of rainfall.
No, it'll be lighter rain and a little calmer,
Hmm
but it's not going to be
Definitely with
showers.
winds it would be calmer, but with rain not
Right,
necessarily.
right.
All right, so newest frame came out. Looks like there was a little bit of rain showers over here. Overall, the eye wall, you can clearly see the western side. You can see the bottom of the southern, kind of just trying to connect it all together. Where it might be. It's definitely somewhere in this area. Still has not made its final landfall. When do you think it will do that? When do you think its final landfall will be? Alright. I don't know personally when I feel like it will be. I feel like it's going to be within the next. Here, I'm going to calculate how fast it's been moving. So let me go back up until 1 o'clock, I think, this time. So this will be. There's that. There's that. Alright, this is 41 miles in the past 7 hours. So 41 divided by 7. That'd be around 5-6 miles per hour, which would be. I'm going to calculate it 6 miles per hour to kilometers per hour. Figure out what that is. Alright. Okay, doesn't want to show it. Alright, it's around almost 10 kilometers per hour. So yeah, moving pretty slowly. Seems like it's sped up a bit. So 10 kilometers per hour, or around 6 miles per hour. And it's around 11 miles from the coast, 12 miles, so around 2 hours, I'd expect it to make its final landfall. Alright, let's take a look at the newest cone if it's come out. No, it has not. It should come out, I'm guessing, within the next 5 minutes. Should definitely at least come out within the next 10 minutes, I'd expect. Because their updates show 10 o'clock, and right there it is 10:20 for their time. Hey, Rapid. Alright, so now looking at the latest frames on the imagery, looks like there is a convective burst on the northern side, still continuing. You can kind of make out the eye appearing in the storm, right about to make a landfall. It is definitely looking like the northern side's the strongest in terms of winds. Yeah, and you can also see the banding features moving in around the border-ish between Northern Territory and Queensland. A lot of heavy rainfall occurring in that area. And yeah, it should be slowly transitioning down further south. So these areas, while you may not be experiencing much rainfall right now, you should experience it pretty soon as this band slowly shifts down more and more to the south. All right. So yeah, low right there. Convective burst on the northern side has been fizzling out somewhat, but that should be the strongest side of the storm. Alright, so looking at the infrared imagery on the storm, if I can pull that up, should show that not really any. Ooh, it does look like the convection is somewhat waning on in this whole area right here. That is a good sign. I believe so. Yeah. Also, you can see the convective burst all along the new bands that's been forming right around here. This is the area with the biggest tornadic threat. Let's get an update on the cone if it's released. It has not. Let me do this maybe to refresh it. Alright, so this is where they believe it's going to be roughly. This is today, or this is tomorrow. This is Tuesday here, heading towards Elliott's. This is Wednesday. Should be a lot weaker at that point. Here, yep. And then Thursday, moving away towards the water, actually. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It should be gone by Monday, but yeah, Saturday it could be in a wide area. We don't know if it's going to be over the water at that point. Thankfully, it's looking like it should not redevelop if it does try and go over there. But with tropical low 08U, thankfully that's going to be heading out of the region there. Looks more and more likely to form later down the road. Then should exit the Bureau of Meteorology area of responsibility by around Monday, or next Monday. Alright, so time to see if I can load up a new cone. Alright, I got it. Riley, you ready? Here we go. I'm going to send it in. Alright, and time to get a new imagery on that cone. Copy image address.
Where they have it at 2, it'll be like about a 1 on the regular scale.
Mm-hmm. Alright, yeah, they just updated it. So let me see if they. I think they increased the strength of it from 130 kilometers per hour to 140. So they believe it's strengthening. Alright, so I think so at least. So they believe it's going to be category 3 for the next 6 hours, looks like on their scale. Then weaken down to a category 2, then a 1, then down to a tropical low the rest of the path. Comparing the cones, I don't see much difference there. And it does look like they believe gale force winds are going to be in McArthur River Mine. The warning zone has only been cropped, thankfully, for north of Port Roper and Groot Islands, that area. I think it should mention it in a statement somewhere. Let's see if the new observation came out. Alright, the latest observation in terms of winds still sustained is around 50 knots. The pressure has decreased quickly. Does that mean we might be in the eye, do you think? It says 982 millibars. It dropped 2 millibars in the past 15
It's
minutes.
probably lower than that, but that means you're closer to it.
Well, here's where the station is, right over here. And if this is over all the eye wall, and there's the center, well, why is it not as low as it should be?
I mean, I really don't know. Maybe it's weaker than expected, or it could be that maybe you're not in the exact center, and it's a few millibars lower. I don't know,
Yeah.
but that's the data that we have. At least is better than none.
Yep. All right. So let's see where they updated everything. All right. Yeah. So canceled zones. Aliang Gula Groot Island to Port Roper, Northern Territory. Um, yeah, intensity category 3, sustained winds near the center of 140 kilometers per hour, with gusts to 195 kilometers per hour. We believe it's a bit stronger at around 165 kilometers per hour, and gust of up to 220 is possible. It is 30 kilometers within. Okay, just the where it is. All right. Movement, it says slow moving, so they don't even know how fast it is going anymore. Interesting. Have you seen that before? See it say slow moving instead of the actual amounts?
Yeah, sometimes, like GTWC, they'll say quasi-stationary,
Yeah, yeah,
and you see sometimes they'll put on a cone near stationary.
yeah. Alright. Once overland, Megan will slowly we can slowly overnight into Tuesday and track west through the Northern Territory as a tropical low. Alright. So the very destructive core of Megan, with wind gusts of up to 200 kilometers per hour, is now impacting the Sir Edward Pellew group. That is the islands, right? Oh shoot, wrong thing.
I would assume so. Yes.
Yes, the Pellew Islands is what it's called. So they believe gusts of up to 200 kilometers per hour could be occurring in those islands, and that does make a lot of sense with it as well. Um, let's see, yeah. So mainly along the eye wall, of course, the western and northern sides. Um, okay, trying to pull up their forecasts wherever it went. All right, destructive winds, wind gusts of 150 kilometers per hour are forecast to extend to adjacent inland areas, including Borroloola, this afternoon and evening. So within like the next 6 hours or so, Borroloola could get in on the destructive winds, or the very destructive winds. All right, gales with damaging wind gust to 120 kilometers per hour are occurring along the coast between Nathan River and the Northern Territory Queensland border. That is going to be in this area. Mainly that they think the gale winds are mainly occurring just through here, just in between both of those little areas. They do have the, just here, let me take a look at how they cropped it. So the maps are the same size. They've definitely cropped the wind field, right? Yeah. And that makes sense because as it gets closer and closer, they're going to start removing the quadrants of it. I'm curious on if are they going to go to hourly updates? What do you think?
I think they should have by now, anyways. I mean, it's about to make landfall. Soon it'll be in land.
Mm-hmm.
Probably until it weakens below one.
Also, they have the positioning right over here, right in this area. I feel like that would make more sense if this was the observation showing 982 millibars. Would you agree on that? I don't know. It looks more like the center's over here, though, right? Wouldn't that make more sense?
Yeah.
Also, the winds are wrapping around this way. Yeah. Keep forgetting how their stuff works differently. So yeah, this stuff is wrapping around.
Yeah. All right. Well,
so, yep.
unfortunately,
Thank you so
I
much
gotta
for
go,
your time,
Chase.
Riley.
Yeah.
Talk to
Unfortunately,
you
I
later.
gotta go. But yeah, I'll go. Yeah, it's nice being on here. I'll do it again
Yes.
on the next one. All right.
Thank you. All right. See ya.
Yep. All right. Bye.
Bye. All right. Let's see what else is going on. All right. Hello, Rapid. I see that you're watching. No thanks for the commentary. Just Just now, I am really to talk about whatever at this storm. Alright, so yeah, I'm not really agreeing in terms of the position of it right now. I feel like it's going to be more on this area, and it makes sense with satellite imagery as well. Oops. Let's see. Because we should start seeing an eye poke out, right in there where that red dot is, basically. But yeah, that surface observation is saying otherwise in terms of how strong the storm actually is. Might be a lot weaker than what we expected. Um, and I'm inclined to say, yeah, it might be a little bit weaker. But yeah, the current. I was gonna read the rest of the warning stuff. Yeah, so the heavy to locally intense rainfall is likely about the southwestern Gulf of Carpentaria coast during today, and may even occur about parts of the Gulf country in Queensland. Heavy to locally intense rainfall will extend to adjacent inland areas in the Carpentaria and northern Barclay forecast districts as the system crosses the coast and moves inland during Tuesday. So yeah, basically almost everywhere in this kind of area could be locally heavy to locally intense rainfall. Um, Coastal residents between Bing Bong and the Northern Territory Queensland border are specifically warned of a dangerous storm tide as the cyclone center crosses the coast later today. Tides are likely to rise significantly above the normal high tide, with damaging waves and dangerous flooding. Abnormally high tides are expected over remaining parts of the southern Gulf for the next few days and will likely rise above the normal high tide at times. Recommended action: the Northern Territory Emergency Service advise stay informed, monitor conditions, prepare to take shelter. You all should already be taking shelter at this point. Do not leave pets outside. It is dangerous to travel now, of course. Yeah. Follow directions from local police and emergency services. Um, you should remain inside until the cyclone has passed. Listen to the next advice. Yeah. So another main thing is if you do see the conditions calm down, do not go outside at that point. So you're about to get hit by the other part of the eye wall. So yeah, right around here as it moves in, the overall forecast path does show it kind of moving this way, right here. So these little lakes could start filling up as well. Man, take a look at that banding right over here, trying to form now. This is a newly formed band as the other one starts fizzling out. And yeah, that is a quite powerful band right there. Heaviest rainfall moving in. As you can see, the different directions that it's been going. It's been now turning from. Let me get where it's been going from actually. Yeah, right there to around there. Then all the way basically like that. That's the main difference that the rainfall has been going towards. If you extrapolate that, you can see where it would be going later and later on into kind of this area. Thankfully, when it's finally over here-ish, it's not really going to have all that moisture to take advantage of. So it will struggle a lot at that point. But right here, it has these warm sea surface temperatures, warm waters, to suck in all the moisture and just make a conveyor belt of heavy rainfall. And we can see that very clearly in this imagery right here. The conveyor belt, as I like to say, of the rain right here. Constantly moving in, lots of heavy rainfall amounts. But yeah, another problem with this is it is blocking the radar from seeing what's going on a lot with the eye wall. You can see kind of where the eye is, in there-ish, kind of. It is hard to tell. It is very hard to tell. But radar is important, and we're very glad and thankful that we have this for this storm. It's a lot easier to track. Yeah, because there we did also have radar. Yeah. Right. Right. How many people do I think? Can you all hear me all right? Yeah, all right. So, yeah, how many people do I think will be hit in this storm? Let's take a look at the population estimator for this area, roughly. Thankfully, not a lot of people live in this area. Here, if I'm gonna show mainly the people in this area, the worst conditions, it should not be a lot, thankfully. Maybe less than 20,000, I'd say. Yeah, definitely. Like, only around 1,500 people. Thankfully, it's not that big of a risk. But yeah, basically, the people who are in this are going to get catastrophic conditions. Um, and yeah, as you can see, this is the largest city right here. Take a look at their population. I think this is what's making up most of it. Should be at least, yeah, nearly 1,000. Yeah, this is the biggest city that's in the risk of the storm. They are connected to a river, and also that city's named Borolula. That city right here, or no, I guess they aren't connected to a river. My bad. Let me take a look at them here. No, they are. They are. Yep. Yeah. So this is what the area looks like. There's the river right here. So this could definitely rise to a larger amounts. Maybe something like this ish. But yeah, storm surge. Well, no, actually, I don't think so. The good news about that city, which I'd show you all right here, is if this, let's say the winds were right here, well, the storm surge, as you can see, it's pushing water inland on this part of the storm and pulling it away from here. So they shouldn't get the highest storm surge, thankfully, but rainfall is a huge threat for them. Um, let's take a look at the models on what they say for Lula in terms of let's look at wind accumulation. Okay, rain accumulation. This is the Euro model, showing up to around 200 plus millimeters.
I am back.
Hello. All right, talking about Bululula or Bulu. Okay, no, Borolula, Bulula. No, my bad. All right.
I know where you're
Um, but yeah, if you'll notice, there are some spots with over 300 millimeters, nearly 400, and these areas can very well shift on where they're going to occur. Like it might occur here, here, here. We don't know exactly where the heaviest rainfall amount is going to occur. But yeah, we do think that it is going to occur roughly in this. Here, let me choose a different color temporarily. Alright.
Has this made landfall over that one island yet?
Yeah, the island it has, but not mainland. Or not the mainland area. Yeah, so this whole area needs to be on the lookout for heavy rainfall. Um, I could show you all the other models as well, how they show pretty much the same thing. This is the GFS model, the global model, showing still around 400 millimeters. And if you think like, oh, it's just missing us, well, this could very well shift towards you all. This is just an example of what a model thinks may happen. This could very well shift. It's basically kind of like a cone on where this storm could occur. Basically, the heaviest rainfall somewhere in this area. You know, these cities over here, they're also included in that risk, right in here, basically. Buhan and Robinson River, you two are all included in the risk. This is a city right here that's only a pixel large, which I don't know how many people are in here. It's literally just a pixel. But it is densely populated, looks like. Yeah, around 300 people in there. And then there should be like another. What?
Currently working on editing a photo of the storm before landfall.
Nice. Alright, I don't know if anyone lives in this area. I'm gonna take a look at that. The islands. Looks too marshy.
I mean, it's the good thing is there's no heavy population
Yeah.
where this is making landfall. It actually kind of reminds me,
Alright, so we got an estimate, 7 people.
Another. Wow.
7 people in that area.
Yeah, It could have been a lot worse than that.
Your mic
Wait, where?
sounds like you're glitching out a bit.
Uh, okay. Good to know.
If you watch my stream, you can probably hear it there.
Might be voice meter going a little itchy.
Yeah, Black Hammer says he sounds like a robot, lol. Yep. And be sure to like the stream if you haven't already. Um, just to help it in the algorithm. Been kind of struggling right now in terms of reaching people. We've gotten 28 views so far, which is abysmal. But if even one of those people live in the area, that'd be very good in terms of informing people on what's going on. I believe a couple people from the stream will be from Australia. I feel like that makes sense. Right.
Trying to figure this out right now.
Let me take a look at the population there. I like to figure out exactly where the people are living on here. Yeah, because there is a small area, Malua, right over here, that I think that's where the population is. Let me take a look. Oh, no, not there. This part of the island right over here. I'm betting that this is the area with the 8 people. Nope, doesn't show anything for that area. Let me make sure it is on that island, though.
I just reset my voice meter. I'm gonna see how that sounds now.
Alright, so this island has a population of around 3 people. Hopefully those 3 people have evacuated. Let me take a look at North Island. See what the population is over there. The population over there is at 1. So, I like how they have the population chart at like 0.5, 0.25 in case there's like half of a person there. But yeah, hopefully that one person who does live on that island has evacuated, because it is going to be very hard for emergency services to reach you if you are on any of those islands. North Island, Watson Island, Skull Island. Yeah, it's not a good thing if you live in that area. Let me take a look at this island.
Weird. My voice still sounds bad, but
Yeah, it
on my
does.
end, it sounds.
Let's take a look at this island over here. But yeah, if you're the one person on that island and you're watching the stream, please hunker down. Oh god, there's another person who lives solely on this island. Yeah, same thing. If you have not evacuated, I know it's a very unlikely chance for the one person who lives there to be watching this stream. But please hunker down, stay put. If you notice that it is starting to brighten up, do not go outside. You are about to face the other side of the storm, the eye wall. I'd like to actually know exactly where the person here lives. Let me try and narrow it down some to Watson Island. Maybe they live on here. Nope, they don't live there, which is good. Alright. Skull Island's honestly not a good place to be on, in my opinion. Hope they aren't on that island. Alright, good, they are not. Let me see if they're on the northern part of Northern Island. I'd like to actually know why it says there's a person who lives there. Maybe they're in this area. I'm gonna check this whole area right here just to make sure.
One singular person there.
Nope, they don't live on there. So they're gonna live on the southern part. Maybe in. I'm gonna take a look at the central part first. Because they might actually live on the southern part of the island. Nope, not there. So yeah, I do think that they are on the southern part. Let me just verify that real quick. If I choose this whole area, then they should be in that. I might be. Okay, never mind. I'm wrong. Okay. I don't know exactly where they are. Let me kind of. I'm going to redraw this polygon here. Because it says that one person lives here, so that's kind of worrying. Yeah, it shows the population trends have been 1 since 2000. Let me kind of decrease the polygon. Kind of see if I can narrow it down. If this says 0, then it's kind of hopeless. Yep, okay. Well, let's take a look at West Island, see if anyone lives there. West Island, there is one person, and they were in the ages of 15 to 64 as of 2010, the census there. So yeah, on West Island, let's take a look at the conditions for you on there, if you're still on the island. Yeah, West Island looks like it might be hammered with some of the most heavy winds, heavy rainfall, all that stuff. Thankfully, it looks like you all aren't actually in the eye wall. The eye wall's to your east. I don't think it's going to be crossing over you. Yeah, just a heads up. You might be in the. You might just barely clip the eye wall of the area with the strongest winds, heaviest rain. I'd like to actually see what parts of West Island are they on. Alright, I found it. They live on southern West Island. Let me see if I can kind of crop it down even more. Let me actually cancel that. Yep. Do this. Okay, so they must live on this side. Southeast. They live on the southeastern part of West Island, looks like.
Hmm.
No, they don't. Okay, I can't find it.
Interesting.
Yep, alright. So I guess I'm not gonna find out where they are. Yeah, it's pretty difficult using this, but yeah. In the total, there's like 8 people on the, I forget the name of the island. The Pettus Island, I think. Let me find out what it is. The Pelel, or Pelu Islands. There's like around 8 people who live there, and they're getting some of the strongest winds. Hopefully they all evacuated. That's what I'm really hoping, because it's not really that survivable if you're in there. You don't have anyone to come help you immediately. Okay, so it looks like the band's starting to fade out a bit on how strong it is. It is still quickly approaching, it is still has heavy rainfall rates, but overall it looks like the convective bursts have weakened, maybe? Yeah. In the beginning of the frame, you can see how all of them are quickly strengthening, but now it looks a lot weaker. But yeah, if you'll notice, the convective burst that was over the center has significantly gotten smaller now. It's about half the size it was. But yeah, it's now covering the full center of it, so it's not really weakening that much. If it was like starting to be moved away from the center, which is right there, then it would indicate some weakening. But yeah, it doesn't really look like it, sadly. Something also I'd like to show you all is you can see the ground heating right over here. It's starting to turn more of a blacker color. just because there's no clouds, and that does mean it's warming up on this scale up into the 30s Celsius. So yeah, this kind of stuff, the heat from it, that causes the brown ocean effect, where it basically makes a cyclone last longer over land. It kind of treats it like water, just because of all the warmth and the moisture on land. This time, because it's so dry in the area, it's mainly the heat of the rocks and stuff like that. It contributes to the sustaining of the warm core warmness of the storm, which aids in somewhat developing. But overall, it helps it sustain. It will eventually weaken, thankfully. Alright, I have noticed actually a little bit of convective burst in this area right here. Yeah, so it does look like it's still firing up, fizzling out. Let's actually take a look at radar for this. So yeah, thankfully the island over here is now getting out of the banding for it, so that's a lot. That's good news for the area. They were at 74 millimeters the last time I checked, which doesn't show what time it was that I checked. Let me refresh it. Should be up a bit higher. No, they're at 74 millimeters still. Alright. Let me go back to daily. Oh, that was the problem. Okay, now I see. Okay, I see what caused it to rise so much. It wasn't that. Okay, it was my fault there. Alright, so it wasn't an increase in rainfall over the past hour. It was just that I was going from weekly totals to daily totals. That was the issue. But yeah, over the past day so far, I think that's what this is. It reset recent. No, okay. The past 24 hours, the areas in Pellis Island, around 75 millimeters, 50 millimeters, so around 2 to 3 inches. Don't know what this thing is, right? I'm just trying to check something. Okay. Let's take a look at what else. Do you all in chat have any other questions about what's going on? Love to answer them. Alright. It is almost 11 o'clock their time. Alright, so yeah, they're not doing hourly advisories, which I find to be pretty weird. I thought that they'd be doing hourly updates to tell how strong the storm is, that kind of stuff, so we'd get a better idea on it. But yeah, cyclone warnings extend from around Mornington Island, not including it, all the way, including Wollo, Goreng, Robinson River, MacArthur River Mine, Nathan River, all the way towards, I don't want to say that name, but then also Port Roper, but not including those areas. I don't think, at least. But yeah, as you can see, these are the gale force winds extending inland right here. Wait, is this actually... Hold on. That has to be a different cone. That's not what I remembered seeing recently. They updated it somehow. Yeah, they had to have updated it. Alright, so yeah. The gale force winds are occurring for parts of Bing Bong and Port MacArthur. And then the damaging winds, or the destructive winds, are occurring on the islands, and as well as the very destructive winds as well, on the Pelus Islands, Pelews Islands. Pelu Islands, my bad. Alright. Alright, so there's a good imagery on the cyclone. Let me take a look at Zoom Earth just to try and see what the eye looks like. Okay, we got a new cone right here from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. Let's go over this. So they believe the position was here as of around 90 minutes ago. Let me turn off this right here. Oh, my bad. Yeah, so it looked like it was more south. Then if we play the loop forward, they believe it's going to be around here as a 120 kilometer. I don't think that's remnant low. Let me just take a look at how fast that is right here. Alright, let me just 75, 65. Alright, so let me go back to kilometers per hour. They do believe it's still going to be at least a Category 1 tropical, or a Category 1 hurricane equivalent cyclone over there. That would be a Category 3 tropical cyclone on the Australian scale. Then it should weaken down to a Category 1 on this point. Category 1 here, then be a low at this point, basically. That's what they're forecasting. The sustained wind should go down from 120 kilometers per hour to around 95. Then they'll go from 95 to around 75 kilometers per hour. Then weaken out even further to around 55 kilometers per hour. But yeah, overall, I expect it to be like a tropical depression at around this point. I'm personally forecasting it to go down to on the Saffir-Simpson scale, something like this, and then eventually degenerate down to a remnant low, and then go wherever it wants to, basically. Alright, let's take a look at the, let me see if you all asked anything. Nope, alright. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overall forecast for the storm, what it looks like. Can we take a look at, I'm so interested in this website and other stuff they do. Maps. I like to see other stuff like, what's this right here? There we go. Okay, this is useful now. Yeah, so there shows Cyclone Megan moving at 2 knots, it shows, so it's very slow. Now let's play the next. Oh, that's surface analysis there, okay. Alright, so this kind of shows what the storm has done so far, and you'll notice it soon. Yep. There it is, right there, 1,001 millibars, 1,002, entering the area. Then it's finally designated. And it's moving incredibly slowly, which is good news for the area. Sorry, good news for the storm. Bad news for the area. But yeah, hopefully it should weaken pretty quickly. Right here, I'm interested in seeing all this other stuff here. It's hard, it's rare seeing all these other fronts. Been trying to learn more about fronts myself. Here we go, let's take a look at the forecast map for the next 4 days-ish on what's supposed to happen. So as you can see, the cyclone is going to be moving inland very slowly. There it is as a low. They believe it's going to continue out over in this area. But yeah, a large part of Australia is going to be getting in on the precipitation, definitely. Right, trying to see if there's any other things that they're using. Let me go back. Trying to take a look at something, if y'all don't mind, real quick. Sorry, I'm just trying to take a look at how the warm fronts work here. I haven't really seen the website. Right. Nice. Let me look at the occluded front, yeah, right. Thankfully, after that, there shouldn't really be much other stuff. Let me see what this is. This is their latest colored analysis here. Nice, it's very high quality. You can zoom in, yeah, click on anything, everything. They said it was 970 millibars. But yeah, the storm's going to be moving that way, hopefully. So, just out of the area, which is nice. You can see a cold front down here. I could kind of show you all what's directing the storm this way. There's a high pressure here, which is mostly trying to prevent things from going down this way. it wants to be dragged over here, but as this high pressure moves that way, it's going to start making the storm want to move around it, but then it goes too far north that it can't be dragged down. But yeah, overall that's what it's looking like. Alright, waiting on confirmation for landfall soon. It should probably do it within the next 30 minutes, I'm guessing. Okay, there we go. Now you can see the eye wall a lot better on the western side there. Wrapping around here, let's take a look at the observations. Alright, so 982.2 millibars. Yeah, it's pretty low. It hasn't steeply decreased again recently. Alright, I'm gonna have some of my dinner right now, if you all don't mind. A little bit hungry, so now I can finally eat. Alright. So I'm gonna go on mute right now. Alright, I am back. Let me delete this. Or just do that, I guess. Alright. So let's take a look at the news frames and kind of get an idea of what's been going on. We also take a look at this. Nice, okay. So, alright, whenever this loads properly, okay. So yeah, if you can tell, this is the eye wall of the storm, which is the most violent winds. Excuse me. Right in here is where the eye is, somewhere in here. So it's been nearly stationary. I do think I'm gonna end the live stream within the next 10 minutes. Don't think anything else has changed. Let me look at surface observations. 981.1 millibars, so it has decreased as well. Okay. But yeah, it's just taking forever for it to actually make landfall. So if anyone's watching, can you tell me if the stream quality is good? Because I am just conflicted on whether or not it's actually working or not, because it just looks so weird. I doubt anyone's watching that. Like, it's saying my stream's not doing good, but I don't know. I don't see anything with that. Alright, so yeah, I'd say it's almost about landfall. Alright. Um, yeah, so summing up my thoughts on this, we got multiple threats, of course. One of the main things about this area, and I'm going to compare this to Florida, um, if I can find where it is. Okay. Alright, so what the heck is going on in Florida? Jeez, what the heck? Man, Florida's having some wild weather today or something. Jeez, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna send this to one of my friends. Quick. Getting a significant hailer, it looks like. And don't worry, it's just all... Something happened with the radar. I don't know what happened. I'm just gonna check it on here. Yeah, I have no idea what happened to the radar. Kinda got messed up, I guess. Alright, so basically just ignore the radar on this point. So basically when a storm's moving in here, the area over here is very shallow water, whereas this area is very deep water. So when you're talking about a cyclone in the northern hemisphere, winds blow this way. So when you're talking about a storm surge over here, it's very harder to push water inland. This area, since the water's so flat, it's a lot easier to push water in, since this area is so shallow. The same thing applies for the Gulf of Carpentaria. The area is very shallow, right in this whole area. And so when you're pushing water inland like that, or sorry, yeah, this way, it's worse for a storm surge basically. When your water, Like, let's say we were looking at a land right here, and I don't know, you have like a house or something right here. And basically what happens if this is the normal tide, let me make sure that's showing up on stream, yeah. Storm surge will basically raise that level, and it can raise it very high. Maybe seeing a couple feet or a couple meters of storm surge, but it would be basically along the coastal areas, and also the wind where it's blowing around the eye wall. So mainly in this area. It could also increase rivers. But yeah, storm surge, big threats there. The wind threat is kind of limited to where the eye wall is. This area is going to be very strong winds blowing that way. I feel like that's going to be the strongest. So yeah, basically anywhere in this kind of zone is going to be the strongest winds. Now for this area, there still is damaging winds because of the eye wall, but lesser than this. But this whole area is going to be the worst winds right now, basically. Mainly, yeah, this area, and then this area right here. When it goes overland, it kind of starts fizzling out more and more. But yeah, we also got some bad cells that are trying to form here of heavy rainfall moving in. I did want to point out there is a severe thunderstorm warning for this area right over here in parts of New South Wales. So this area, there's some pretty bad thunderstorms here, and this is a lot worse than the cells I was showing you all earlier. So yeah, they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning for these cells over here. Well, no, they did it to the east for whatever reason. Let me pull it up why. Okay, so there were bad thunderstorms trailing over here. But yeah, basically kind of the same thing. It expires in around 2 hours. So severe thunderstorms are likely to produce heavy rainfall that may lead to flash flooding the warning area over the next several hours. Locations which may be affected include Tamworth, Walcha, and Bendemeer. So Bendemeer, Tamworth, and Walcha. Yeah, these areas basically mainly. But yeah, this area also is a bad thunderstorm right here. Alright, so yeah, those are basically my final thoughts on the storm. Now, of course, I'm going to be posting this on Twitter and stuff like that, what's going on. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Oh, we got a nice outflow mat, or like, nice cell moving inland right here, as you can see. Yeah, this whole area is getting heavy rain as well. But yeah, yeah, I guess those are mostly my final thoughts, yeah. Rainfall is a huge threat, though, in this whole area, basically. But yeah, trying to pull up the difference, yeah, alright. So if you're in this whole area, just stay indoors, don't go outside until the storm fully passes. Ooh, hey, there was a thunderstorm over here, nice, okay. That did mean that there was possibly a tornadic cell tried to form, or just a severe thunderstorm in this area. So these areas over here are the most prone to producing tornadoes in this area. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. If there is a tornado coming for you, just just don't go outside and point at it. Just get into a safe space. Yeah, they shouldn't be that strong, thankfully. But yeah. Oh shoot, what did I just do? Alright, so yeah. Those are basically my final thoughts as we turn into 11:30. Let's refresh the surface analysis, see if there's anything new. No, or the cone as well. Just wondering if there is anything ongoing. Alright, let's see if this, I think this is updated, yeah. As you can see, it's going to be going away pretty fast, and then outside of this point, it's pretty uncertain where it will be by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It should thankfully be out of the area soon. Shouldn't be that strong for that long. And time to see if I can get an update on that cone. And not really seeing an update, but yeah, basically the area in this red zone right here. Let me try and use this now. Basically, this area right here is the worst winds that are going to be occurring in the storm, basically. Right through here. And then let me choose a different color for the lesser strong winds, but still damaging. Right through here, down there, basically. So this area right here, sorry for the quality there, that area is destructive winds. If places like Port MacArthur, Bing Bong, Borlu, they're going to be in the destructive wind area. And then the gale force winds, those are going to be this area, which extend quite a bit away from the center. Actually redo that. Right there. Right there. Then basically they should be something like this-ish. Yeah, so these are the main areas for bad winds. Like, this also includes the MacArthur River Mine, and then also just the overall bad conditions in terms of bad winds are basically anywhere in this kind of zone. Moving inland, that kind of stuff. And same thing for right over here. If we go down something like this and then curve it around, yep, there we go. That's kind of basically what the winds are going to be like. Where the most damaging winds are in there. You can basically expect power outages if you're in that yellow area, especially in the orange and reds. Greens, you could see some. In fact, that was something I was going to do. Australia power outages. Let's take a look. View and report power outages. I don't know if this is it. No. This is a Northern Territory power outages. I'm not really seeing much right now. Nope, nothing really. They're all resolved. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe here. Alright, so there is stuff going on in here, so I'd like to actually take a look at that. Yep, of course there's lots of power outages going on, of course. More recently. I want to see this right here. I could do Northern Territory, Australia. I don't know if this is actually the area, or if it was just a mistake or something. Yeah, that's likely not. Okay. But yeah, there should definitely be power outages going on. Anyways, those are my closing thoughts. Thank you for watching, and stay safe in the next storm. I'll see you all in the next storm as well. Alright.